maybe that's not a good example. The first one you gave, but should we?
Well, yeah, go for it.
Nah.
No, go for it.
Should we?
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing where I'm not gonna go for it.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Another Day in Paradise. Good job. This we definitely have to work on. But hey,
It was not bad. It was not bad for the first time.
all right, guys, thank you for being here. This is another episode of Another Day in Paradise. Just a quick reminder before we start, Reda, of course,
Yes.
thank you for being here. This is a
Thank
pleasure.
you for
of
having
course.
us as usual,
I always
blah, blah,
forget to introduce people because, like, we have been. It's
I
not like
think,
we just saw each
yeah,
other right
this-
now.
yeah,
like
yeah,
we
yeah.
hung out before,
But
and then
still, I think
yeah.
at this point,
yeah. Welcome to Another Day in Paradise. This is a different setup. I'm really not convinced about this angle. Can you go check now? So because I checked with you because I used we're gonna keep everything. So just some technical difficulty here. Okay. What do you think? Good enough? It's tight, and you should be over here.
yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. That's fine then. That's good enough. What?
On prend bien l'écran, quoi. On va remplir l'écran.
That's good. That's good. Let's do it. Let's do it. No, as long as our shoulders are in and our heads are in.
We're in.
Okay. This one is like a very narrow shot, but let's try it this way and see
No
what
worries.
happens. So
Okay.
today, so I was talking to you before,
Yeah.
and I showed you a podcast that I did with a special guest.
That was actually
One of the best,
Actually,
if not the best. Like
yeah, it was,
actually, it's the best. Yeah, for sure. So I did a podcast with my daughter, and
she's
just
how
like-
old is she now?
so she is almost 3. She will be
Yeah.
3 in a month.
That was a very, very precious moment.
It was a very precious moment, and you know
Yeah.
what I liked about it is that just like all the podcasts that we do,
Yeah.
it was not prepared. I didn't like anticipate that we would do a podcast. When she comes here, she just walks around the house and checks if everything is okay as usual.
Yeah.
She inspects the house, and then she goes, "Oh, this is your office." And we were hanging out here, and I showed her the lights, and I thought, you know what? I thought turning on the Rodecaster, the mixer, would be cool for her because it has many,
Yeah, it
many
has
lights,
buttons,
almost like
lights
yeah.
of the-
So I turned it on, and then that one thing led to another, and then we ended up making a podcast. I wanted to play around with the sound and show her like it was fun. And to be honest, I did not expect her to
have
be
that
ready.
reaction.
To be ready for the podcast because I thought she would play around and get bored, and then she's
Nah, it was
she's
amazing.
not even 3.
It was really amazing. Her
And-
reaction was like,
Yeah, we ended up doing a podcast, if you can call this a podcast, but we recorded a nice, cute video for like 20 minutes. So I saved it, of course, and
yeah,
and this got us talking about
yeah,
memories.
yeah. Actually, I think the
Childhood memories.
first thing that came to mind when I saw that video, first incredible moment, like between the father and his daughters.
Yeah,
Daughter
it was
being
good.
curious, looking at stuff, and being amazed of hearing her voice, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And I was like, and this is what I told you in my head. I was telling myself, like, how lucky is this generation to be able to have all those small video moments that are like genuine, on the spot. Because we had that to some extent. The quality was quite shitty.
Yeah.
But it was always like not that spontaneous. Like it was always like, okay, get in front of the camera. Okay, now do
Yeah.
this or whatever. Like this was like a pure moment of bonding between a father and his
sure.
daughter, and it was like, and I think to myself, if I was lucky enough to have those videos, it would be life changing.
It would be amazing, and
Yeah.
and to be honest, like also, I saw something and I sent it to you, and somebody was talking about some kind of artsy thing he was doing, like maybe making podcasts or making some videos, etc. And he said, "This is my passion. This is what I do for myself. You guys are just invited.
Yeah.
If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't." And the thing is, we do we do a podcast to create memories, and of course we would love to have a bigger impact and have a bigger community so we can really make it more interesting and fun and sharing, etc.
Yeah.
But we do podcasts because we do them in a selfish way, in a way.
Yeah.
So
well,
I also,
not even in a way. 100%.
yeah, definitely, because it's almost like a therapy.
Because
And,
we could be looking at like what are the trends, what are this
exactly.
be like using all those clickbaits, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But this is like one, it enables us to have some
True.
cool conversations.
And also, like, to be able to look back at this,
Yeah.
like the podcast that I did with my daughter, and also the podcast that we do together.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds very cheesy, but sometimes, not always, but sometimes when we hang out, we watch a few of our podcasts,
Yeah.
and because these are fun moments, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when you said that. That was funny.
And even
then-
when we share those with our friends and
Yeah.
things like that don't necessarily watch the podcast, by the way.
Exactly.
But when
Clearly.
we're sitting around and watching them, like at the end of the day, we have, I would say, a very big portion of our friendship on tape, which is,
exactly,
which is
kind
quite
of cool. Kind of cool.
for sure.
And like, I think it's very important to do things with passion, and to be really honest, like this podcast, we haven't made episodes in a little bit now.
Yeah.
We are trying to get back on the train, and honestly, we forgot how much fun it was, how much therapeutical it was. I
Yeah.
missed this word. I'm not gonna try it again, but you got the word.
Therapeutical.
Therapeutical. And
Gotta
it's-
put that.
the hook
Shout out to
to
rock
whatever her name is. You know what? I think we have that podcast. I have a folder called The Oven.
Yeah.
So we have some podcasts that are kind of like ready. And one of them is that one. I'll post it soon. It's still relevant, still very interesting, because influencers are still a part of our daily life. But anyways,
Yeah.
so we've been doing this podcast as a therapy, and which leads me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go 180 on you. I think
No
I think
worries.
you're gonna enjoy it. But what do you think about real therapy compared to doing some activities like doing podcast, which is like kind of a therapy? Some people say, "Well, I work out. That's my therapy. I draw. That's my therapy. I play music, or I go hang out with friends, or I go for a beer. That's my therapy."
Yeah.
Do you think that? So, what is your substitute to a real therapy? What do you do to really like helps you mentally, like let your brain breathe a little bit? Besides podcasts, I know I'm not trying to like force you for your answer.
Not,
but I know
not
podcast
to
is
go too deep in that, but
Why not?
Praying.
True.
These last, I would say, the past 4 to 5 years, my faith has been growing. Because when it comes to religion, we kind of like, depending on where we were, like the country we're from, our cultural background, it kind of like falls on you, like the way you're raised or whatever.
Yeah, you inherit it. Yeah.
Yeah, but these past 4 or 5 years, I've been connecting on it more on a, let's say, choice level, or making sense of it, all that stuff.
yeah.
So
It's like
I
a
think
proactive way.
I think that would be my number one go to for like when
Mental
I really
health.
really
Mental
need
health,
that, where I'm on the edge. I think that's the things that I found to be the most effective.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I'm religious, but I don't practice it as much as I should. And I know religion in Morocco is very powerful. Even when people are like when they are stressed, they read this kind of surat, etc., etc. So definitely, religion helps alleviate like the pressure moment and very intense moments. Um, do you have something else do you think podcasting also helps you like cool off the engine in a way?
No, for sure, for sure. I think depends on where your troubles are, right? Like there's hierarchies to things. When you feel that your brain is overworked, I like to do activities that kind of lock my brain into a simple task, but I don't think of a lot of things. Like it could be anything that's manual. You know, like when you do the shirts thing.
Yeah.
You know, like and you
Yeah.
need to take out the small pieces
Yeah,
one by
weeding.
one.
It's
or,
called
or,
weeding. Yeah.
Or like any activity that kind of like locks you in, that's easy on the brain, but locks you in. You can't think of anything else. That's cool. When I feel, you know, like a bit not emotionally, but like tense or whatever, sports is a good outlet for
Definitely.
that. So we played soccer. We don't do it that
We
much.
don't do it anymore, but honestly, like I'm gonna interrupt you here, but soccer
yeah.
saved me out of at one point of my life. I was not in a good spot.
Yeah.
I really felt the direct impact of soccer in my life.
Yeah.
And we used to play 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Like I know that if I miss it, I'm gonna sink back. So I really needed it.
Yeah.
And I used to hang out with a good friend of mine, Madi, and after soccer, and we used to like sit and relax and have a drink and eat sometimes something, and we would like talk. So talking definitely comes back as the silver lining. Like it's always like the common thing that people would say, like it really helps me to talk to a good friend, talk to a family member, like open up and talk about problems, or sometimes just listen to problems or listen
makes
to somebody.
sense of things in general, for
It
sure.
helps evacuate the stress, right?
No, 100%.
Talking sports definitely
and
is
it's
good.
a good thing because it's not just the activity, it's the state it puts you in, the interaction, the social interactions that are around it. Because like for instance, if you talk about the soccer group that we play with, one, it's kind of like my newest friendships, I would say, newest relationships. So we don't have the bad habits of the past, of our teenage years, of stuff.
Yeah,
So
we start fresh.
that relationship is a bit, let's say, a bit more pure in a way, because we don't have a past, we don't have like a
History.
history, baggage, all that stuff, and it keeps it at a state where things are quite not too deep. You can interact with people and stuff. And
Yeah, it's all fun and games, definitely.
and I think one thing that we kind of like undervalue is, especially for men and probably for women, but women maybe do it more, is that environment where you can allow yourself to be, I wouldn't
Silly?
say a man, I would say a boy.
Yeah, silly, like
Yeah.
like a child.
Because like people relate to you. You don't have to make too much efforts. We laugh a lot. We tease a lot. Like when one of the wives is talking to her husband, talking, "Hey, where are you? Get back home." We're laughing and stuff. And that environment of I would say lightness is quite nice.
For sure, for sure. I think
Yeah.
if I don't, I'm not sure we want to go there, but I think we stopped playing soccer for me.
Yeah.
Because we lost that aspect a little bit, because we got into it became a little bit like more competitive for some, and some bad apples, they made the whole thing bad, and it stopped being therapeutical for me, so I had to bounce out of it, because I started feeling like I need to perform now. And before, I didn't need to do shit. Like I pass if I want to pass, I shoot if I want to shoot, or if I don't run if I don't want to run.
Yeah.
And it was a fun thing, very light. Now it became, I mean, recently, but I think we're gonna revive this.
No,
But,
I think it's just like having because right now there's no I would say state of equilibrium within the relationships. There are people that are there are like clans and stuff. Like if this guy doesn't play, the others don't play.
Well, yeah,
this,
that's
all that
another
stuff.
bullshit reason.
When
for
we
sure.
started, we kind of like all started like
Doesn't matter who
from
comes.
with the same objective, which was like, hey, let's just have a game, and little by little we started like before going straight back home, like maybe we should get to know each other a bit
hangouts,
and stuff like
etc.
that.
Yeah.
And that's that was the magic of things. But I think we can find it back. We just need to have that core members to be more committed.
True, but also like
Yeah.
that also tells you that if you want to be, if you want to work out and use it as a way of releasing some pressure, some people enjoy competition,
Yeah,
and
for-
some
for sure.
people just enjoy working out. I mean, we still work out, we still sweat a lot, we are still sore in the morning, but we
Yeah.
do it in a fun way. And some people they like release pressure by being competitive and winning, etc. That really motivates them. And we are in a certain ways, but this is not the group for that. And I think we had like mixed objectives, people with mixed objectives in this group, and it made it a little bit.
Yeah, well,
People who wanted to chill ended up being competitive because like he's yelling at you.
Don't you think that maybe it also because you said that it had like soccer changed you, and
Helped
it was
me, yeah, for sure.
I said changed you, it saved you. That's the word that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe that like as the year passed, even if you're a grown ass man, like you're still growing, your problems change, shift, whatever.
Sure.
And don't you think that the fact that maybe it doesn't save you anymore, not because the environment changed, but your problems maybe changed as well? I don't know.
No, sure you're going with this,
But
I'm
I think
trying to make sense
but
of
just,
this.
just to come back to what
Okay.
we were saying,
This
like
is
the
like,
therapy.
okay. Yeah, let's go
moments,
back,
right? We went to
I
deep
was
like a
like,
Dr. Phil.
You shot some blanks here. I'm not sure if I can following you on this. No, but definitely like working out is
What do
really
you do?
interesting.
What do you do to?
I'll tell you something that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Running is listen. I know it sounds crazy for people who don't run, but running can seem very like brainless and like kind of stupid because like running seems very boring. But let me tell you this. You are having the deepest conversations with yourself when you're running. No talking. And like the neck plus ultra, like the best thing that people do is which I don't, which is running with no music, no headphones, no nothing, just running. And this I have done a few times because sometimes I forget my headphones
funny.
or like they are disconnected or they are not charged. And I go for a run without it. You would not believe the conversations that you have with yourself when you are running. You think about so many things, especially like if you manage to run over like 20, 30, 40 minutes, then you really go deep and like it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, but you can find ways to do that without.
I mean, of course, walking does the
I
same
have it
thing.
with driving. Driving, I have the craziest conversations.
Driving,
Like
but
when I hit a 3-hour road,
Yeah.
like a little the Marrakesh Rabat
Yeah.
with no music,
Yeah.
and not someone. I hate when people come to with me. I love driving those because
Yeah.
I can get deep into those conversations.
yeah,
Like
and
you
you
say.
don't have to entertain somebody. Yeah,
No, I entertain myself, and I go through all the states.
Yeah.
There's like karaoke. There's like
true. Phone calls, like you do business, you do a lot of
it's
things.
Really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But
Driving is also definitely cool, especially like when you drive.
yeah,
You can crank up the music. Usually the music sound system is usually really good. It's like you're in your little bubble, little studio. So the music, you really live the music. Sometimes you spend a little time looking for this special song that will really hit the
you know, I'm
spot.
gonna tell you something. I just realized. Probably my car is probably my safest place.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like I can't remember a moment where I was especially sad or especially angry or whatever in my car. My car is kind of like my safe place.
I do.
I have my music. I have my podcast. It's mine. It's the most my environment.
For
there
sure.
is.
It's like a cocoon. And
Yeah.
honestly, every time I go inside my car, it really feels like, okay, this is a me moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's
for
really
sure.
cool,
For sure.
actually.
Especially like you live kind of far and you
Yeah.
don't mind driving at all.
I just calculated. On average, I have 68 kilometers per day,
Yeah.
and I don't do shit, by the
Yeah.
way.
and you work from home.
And I work from home. So yeah, I have at least, I would say at least once a day, 25-minute drive back and forth. So like at
Yeah.
least an hour in a car.
Yeah. And it
alone.
also helps that you have a Bentley, so it does help.
Well,
it does help. It does help. I
in
mean,
my
you-
heart, it is. In my heart,
No, but
By
seriously,
the way,
like, yeah.
I'm thinking of changing, but this is not a
the
subject.
changing cars. We'll talk about cars because
Yeah,
there's a
because
lot of
this is
things to say
a-
about cars.
yeah.
Like, does your car says a lot about you?
It does.
It does for sure. But let's move on. Let's go. Let's stay there.
But yeah.
So yeah, definitely sports and alone time in your car, in your safe place, in your cocoon. That's perfect.
So right now we have spirituality.
Yes, definitely.
Spirituality. Sports,
Podcasts.
spending time alone.
Yes. Spending time alone. I'll tell a quick story.
Okay.
I wrote some notes and I was supposed to do this. One day I decided to go to the farm and spend the whole day alone. But not only that, spend the whole day with no screen. And it was not a silent retreat, but almost, because I was alone. And I mean, I had some guy who helps me around the farm who was next to me. And I decided to spend 24 hours with no screens. That really was really cool, like in terms of mental health, because I'm planning some vacation by the end of the month, and I will do that again, at least one day, just to chill. Nobody, no sound, just like. And here is what I thought. So I spent the whole day, no screens, which means no phone, of course, no computer, of course, no TV, of course, but also no watch. And the watch thing is very important because you don't know what time it is. You don't know if you should eat or is it time to eat or not yet. Well, it's up to you. It's not up to the watch.
Yeah.
It's not up to, is it noon yet?
No,
it doesn't matter.
especially in the farm. Like you have I would say, the perfect setting to do something like that.
For sure. Because
Even that you don't
in
have
the
that.
city, it's different.
You don't have that like the places in your farm are quite closed.
Yeah.
Like if you're in your room, no one
sees you. No,
If you're in this place, no one. So
it was really cool. Here's what I did in a nutshell. I woke up. I don't know what time I woke up. Actually, I slept until I felt okay to get up. I got out, made some eggs, ate, and then stepped outside. And I ate outside, and then the guy was already there. And he said, "Hey, how are you? Good." And I left my phone voluntarily. I left my phone on purpose. I left it in my bedroom. No watch. And I thought I would read a lot.
not at all.
I think there's no chance for me to start reading. No. I had a book. I read a little bit, left a couple chapters, but I didn't read nearly as much as I thought I would read. I thought I would finish the book that day.
Yeah.
But I just was sitting doing nothing. And the guy was working on a project like maybe 20 or 30 meters from me. And he said, and he started looking at me like, are you okay?
Motherfucker, give me a hand.
No, are you okay? I'm just sitting doing nothing, not reading. But I was really deep inside my brain and having conversations with myself. It was really, really good. So I said, yeah, no, I'm good. I didn't want to explain it to him. Not because I would feel like, oh, it's too long to explain, but I just no, let me just leave this experience with no one knowing. So I didn't call my parents until the day tomorrow. Don't call me. I didn't call anybody. And it was the summer. It was last year actually in the summer. And then I decided, you know what? Let me go. It was 2 years ago actually. Let me go let me go to the beach actually. So I jump in the car. And I'm not sure what time it is, right? So I jump in the car, and then, of course, the car has screens. It's not a Tesla, but it still has some kind of screens like radio and shit.
Yeah.
And I turn off the radio because I don't want to know what time it is. So no radio means no GPS, and I was not sure how to get to the beach. But, I figured GPS makes us addicted and like
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like crippled, like you don't know, like you said before.
And
Like,
plus, when you do mistakes, you discover
you discover
stuff.
new
So
roads,
it's always
etc.
cool.
And it's cool to use your brain and like use your
Yeah.
sense of orientation, and no sound. So I just opened the windows, enjoyed the wind, no sound. And honestly, I was never bored. I was entertained from the beginning to the end. So I go to the beach, I sleep there, I wake up, and I'm like, okay, let me go for a swim. I swim, I come back, and then I'm like, I'm kind of hungry. I'm not sure if it's time to eat. So I go to a restaurant near the Buznika, for people who know, and it's a gas station actually. Okay, let me just. It's not a restaurant. It's a restaurant in a gas station, but very
Nah,
popular.
actually,
I'm sure you know it
it's
too,
really
right?
good, yeah.
You know the one
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
It's a grill.
It's a grill, fantastic grill. I go there. There is nobody. So I'm either too late or too early.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys serving food, right? It's not too early. He said, no, we're serving food. So I sit, and it reminds me of a joke a comedian says. He says, when we are sitting alone in a restaurant and you are sitting next to us, we are sitting with you.
Yeah.
Like,
It's true.
like, what do you think? I'm just staring at nothing. I'm actually connected, more connected than the person you're talking to.
Really?
I have nothing to
He
do.
really said that?
I'm alone. I'm actually connected to you, almost like as if I was
Yeah.
sitting with you. So there was a couple around me, like a few people next to me, like only one table, and I was sitting not too far, like one table over. So I was like really deep inside their conversation, and then I ate, and then I paid, I left, I went back. It was still not late. The sun was still out. So you know what? I'm like, I'm hanging out, etc. Long story short, it was at the end of the day, then comes nighttime. Of course, nighttime, you need some entertainment. Nothing. I was reading my book. I made a tagine, very long, took all my time, etc. Then I started thinking, what if somebody's calling me? What if there is an emergency?
Yeah.
And you know, those
Yeah.
deep, those bad ideas start creeping in. But in reality, I'm like, you have your phone every day. How many times do you answer an emergency? And not a lot. So let's not have it's like the dark ideas. And I was tired, time to go to bed. And I thought it was really late because it was dark for a long time. And I thought, should I check my phone? Should I not check? Is it midnight yet? Is it not midnight? Is it midnight yet? Because I started midnight the day before. So my phone was off. So I'm like, oh, that's a bad sign. Maybe it's been ringing all day.
Yeah.
So it's off. And I'm like, you know what? Forget about it. I'll wake up in the morning. And I have to admit, I turned it on. It was like 11:55 or something. I did have a lot of phone calls. I mean, it's just my parents. My mother called me, and then I didn't pick up, and then she called me again, and I didn't pick up, and then she called me
She
again.
called your brother. And,
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, so
your
that's
dad,
the thing.
and
Like,
then your dad
it's
called,
just the
Yeah.
one person that didn't hear
But
from me all
actually,
day.
this experience could be optimized. Let's just put on that.
Okay, that's pinned to it. Okay,
You just need to
do it with somebody else.
Leave your phone to someone.
No, or just like tell a couple important people in your life who might call you. Tell them, listen, tomorrow I'm not gonna have a phone with me. No explanation. Just like
Yeah.
tomorrow I'm gonna be hard to reach.
But it's actually cool. Cool.
Very,
experience.
very cool. Mental health wise, very, very refreshing. I
But
I thought I would get bored. I
Yeah.
had so many conversations with myself. Like
Yeah.
time flew by, really.
But I feel that sometimes, in general, when I do activities that are good for especially, I'm not talking like doing an hour. I'm talking like something that takes at least a day or a few days. I'm always afraid of the aftermath because like I'm so good at that moment that when I go back to reality, I kind of like crash even more because I compare it to the moment I was good. And
That's true. That's the
did you
high,
ha-
and
did-
you're afraid of
did-
the low. Okay.
Did you have that low afterwards?
No, I thought it would. To be really honest, I felt a little bit disappointed. I thought I would be much better with my phone, etc. But the addiction is still here. I still check my phone like 50 times a
Yeah.
day,
Yeah,
and I
it's
still
horrible.
have like crazy numbers every time it gives me like okay, today you use this week you have been using your phone daily, like
What's
8
your screen
hours.
time?
Oh man, it's we did that before, but it was probably like around 6 hours, if not more.
Oh my god!
Because I watch
And this is
YouTube a
just
lot.
and this is just your phone, man.
But to be really honest, if I'm being honest,
Because you
I
have
don't
at least
look at the screen so much. I just music is on, podcasts are on all the time.
yeah, but like you're still like it's crazy.
I'm connected with
'Cause
my
you
phone, but
alre-
not
you
visually.
al-
That's
you
what I'm
al-
trying to say.
you already have like 8 hours of screen time with
For
work.
for sure,
Minimum.
definitely, yeah, for sure.
It's crazy.
It's the addiction is there. I think
Man.
scrolling is the devil. Yeah, but going back to therapy
Yeah.
now. I made a podcast for people who speak French. I'll put the link on the for this podcast where we talked about real therapy.
Nah, don't get me started on those.
On those assholes. So real therapy. I have a friend who went through some mental health issues at some points of his life. He's much better now, of course, and thank God. But he talked about the struggle to find the right therapist and to realize that you need therapy and you need help. And of course, there is still a stigma around
Yeah, it's
finding help. This guy had an episode of a persecution thing, and he thought that and funny enough, he was really not doing okay, and he knew he needed a therapist. He needed help, but I'm not sure how much I can say. But the person who was with him at that time refused, and she was scared, and she was maybe ashamed. And she said, no, you're doing okay, just relax, etc. He said, no, I need help, which is very rare, if in my opinion. I think most people say, no, I just need this motherfucker is bugging me, or this is stressing me out, etc.
But you know that this is something that comes quite often is that when you kind of like bypass the norm, which is like, for instance, I need help.
Yeah.
Just the simple fact of you saying I need help, people will take it less seriously than if you know,
Yeah,
like some
that's
people
true.
just like
If you say you need help, that means
That
you
is-
don't need that much
yeah.
help. Like you're doing
Yeah.
okay. I mean, come on, just walk it off, or just go do a
you know,
podcast.
yeah, it's but therapy, it's a tough one because like, do you think therapy? Do you believe in therapy?
We had this conversation before, and you asked me, did you ever do it?
Yeah.
And would you do it?
Uh-huh.
And the first answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And the second answer is, I forgot the second question. So I probably do need therapy. No. No, the first answer, of course, did I do it? No.
Mm-hmm.
Would I do it? I said yes. I think it would be very interesting. And then the follow-up question
Yeah.
was, go ahead. You said, well, would you do it because you want to test it out, or would you do it because you really believe in it and you want to help?
Do you think that it's going to? Yeah, like.
I think it would be very interesting. I'm not going to lie. I would still analyze how he does it or how she does it, etc. I would analyze the thing. Now, would I like...
those are sneaky. They establish trust before
They do, but
but-
I would still analyze things.
Me, the only problem I have with shrinks in general is that there are, just like in every field, there are good ones and bad ones.
Yes.
People that do a job for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, etc., right? In this particular field, when you do it for the wrong reasons or you're not good, the consequences can be devastating.
For sure.
Like if you're a bad football player, you're just bad.
But listen, if
You know?
you're a bad cook, it shows very quickly. But if you're a bad therapist,
Yeah.
then Well, you have to trust the process. I mean, you cannot judge it for. And
No, no,
second of
no,
thing, and the other thing, I'm
yeah.
sorry, but you start off as being not mentally in a good place. So
Yeah.
how could you be a good judge and you're already like fucked up in the head?
Well, that's the thing. Because one, people become dependent very often in the way they think, especially when you're the more you need it, the more you become a bit dependent on not being able to think about that, and often having that as being the argument you use. We don't say that in English. What's argument in English?
Not
Argument.
sure.
Anyways, we'll figure it out.
An argument?
Ouais, l'argument en français.
Yeah, like an argument. Like giving your argument, that's your best. Is that your
Okay,
best
so
argument?
I didn't know
well,
we used to the same way. Okay,
see, that's how I do at work all the time. It works.
But basically,
That's the way you say it.
often they use that to justify. Like even my shrink thinks that this, like or this, and like I don't like it when someone has too much influence, and I've seen a lot of times people that become almost dependent.
So, what do you think a good shrink is?
A
What
good
do you expect from a good shrink?
a good shrink would be someone that wouldn't tell you, but would guide or challenge you.
I think that's what they are all supposed to do.
No,
right?
of
That's
course.
that's the basic.
100%.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I'm against
Because
the
a
stuff,
good
because
shrink-
I think it shouldn't be, because one, it's easy to become a shrink
Is it?
in studies. Yeah, I'm not talking like a psychiatrist, but like not a psychiatre.
Not the doctor, but the
but
one
a
who just
psychologue.
talks to you. Yeah.
It's a 2-year.
But still, I mean,
formation no, what I mean, it's accessible and stuff.
Of
And I
course.
don't think that a lot.
It's not a brain surgeon,
Not
right?
to be
no,
judgmental
we
or
can,
anything.
we can.
But most of the people I know, they're the most fucked up, and they all want to be shrink.
I think
So-
one of the problems is that
Yeah.
it's very easy to pretend to be a good one, and it's not gonna show, because now you have life coaches
Oh my
who
god.
kind of
don't get
like
me.
do the same job. And we'll talk. We're probably gonna do a whole episode about them. So let's refocus now on. I think for me, a good shrink is somebody who is, of course, if he starts telling you should do A, B, and C, just pay him,
Or
because you don't
even
want
you
to.
should think A, B, and C.
Definitely, like he should really, like, you should do the work on yourself. He's
He
just
should
here to
guide
guide you,
or
definitely.
challenge.
But never tell you, oh, this person is an asshole. You were right here, you were wrong there, and forget about this and do this
Yeah,
and do
because
that.
they only have one side of the story
For sure,
for any stories.
sure.
And also, you need to be very, very solid as a human being and be very, very professional to separate your personal experience from what you're getting from your patient. And I'm sure there's a lot of amazing shrinks out there or whatever, and probably depending on where they actually work, etc. Like they're held accountable to some extent. But I've seen a lot of people that, like, I've heard some stories, because I have a lot of people in my life around the age of our parents,
Okay.
especially divorced women. And sometimes, they gather around and discuss stuff, and I hear things, and I'm like, a professional said that?
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
And
Sometimes
Maybe I'm biased, but when I see these things, I feel that it's very dangerous to give that much power to someone, especially when the person on the other side comes at a vulnerable state.
For sure,
know,
for
it's
sure.
a
It's
huge
very
responsibility.
easy to manipulate people who are not in the best shape, mental shape, I guess. But
Yeah.
what do you think about shrink being, like, somebody seeing a shrink for like 10 years? Do you think it?
I think there must be. Once again, I don't know. It probably depends on the problem, but 10 years
Shouldn't you be able to solve this problem?
becomes
and, like,
it becomes I would say would probably
It's
get
an
close
addiction.
to dependency. Yeah.
For sure.
And I would suggest maybe changing. I can understand that some people are really fucked up. Like there are a lot of fucked up people, like, and they need that. But I'm sure that someone that stays that long and that is not a clinical case where they're gonna go see a psychiatrist that's gonna prescribe whatever or do whatever therapy. But like just going and speaking to someone for 10 years can be good if you don't have friends, I'm guessing.
Well, that's the thing. Can a good
But-
friend
but-
compensate for
yeah,
for a bad
exactly.
shrink
Or
or a shrink in general?
Yeah, well, I don't know. To be honest, I don't personally believe in that. And I saw a lot of examples that scared the shit out of me.
So
And,
here is the thing. When you think about a good shrink, like
Yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
and I agreed, of course, but you just need somebody who will be able to, who would be a good listener
Yeah.
and who would orient you and challenge you in some things to make you do your own thinking and your
Yeah.
own problem solving.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, wouldn't a good friend be able to do that?
He would. But
When I say good friend, I say mature friend. Of course,
of course,
it's
no,
not.
no.
it doesn't have to
I
be
think
a-
for sure a lot of friends, especially people that are able to go deep and have a lot of empathy, maybe higher EQ,
Yeah.
stuff like that, they can probably get that. But it's still something where having studied the human psyche and stuff like that would help you navigate that better. Like, you see that good friend that would be able to do that, that's the profile that should be shrinks. So because if you add the science to it, you'd get even better results.
Definitely.
But when you have some fucked up people that just want to play shrinks and they think that because a lot of people that have a lot of problems tend to go and fix other people's problems in a way or whatever, and sometimes the results are amazing, but sometimes the results are like, you remember the shrink from the radio
Oh man,
that
Doc
what's his name?
Samad.
Doc Samad.
fuck.
Doc Samad is a very great it's a great example because
Wow.
he gets calls every day on the radio from people saying this. Usually it's like super boring shit, like
I would disagree
no,
actually.
like, let me finish.
Okay.
Like when I say super boring shit, it's like an average problem. My boyfriend tells me this. I don't know this,
I would
but
disagree.
sometimes when
There
it
we
gets
go.
to
There we go.
when
It's
it
coming
gets to
around.
something
Mhm.
to like some real issues or whatever, the advices he gives
Oh my god, they are
is
so out there,
so fucking dangerous.
so dangerous.
So fucking dangerous.
Yeah,
It's like,
I'll give a quick example
Yeah.
so people can
So we
figure
agree
out.
on this.
Yeah, we definitely agree. I think actually I used to listen to him back when I was in the US because I wanted to know,
Yeah.
stay in touch with
well,
what's
I
happening.
used to look at it as a fun thing. Like it was like
No, for me I was like,
but sometimes I
fuck,
was
it's
like,
scary.
oh my God.
wow, he didn't just say that.
But here's an example of
So here's an example.
Yeah.
There was a young chick. So first of all, the setup. The setup is people call you on an open air radio, etc. Very late at night. One of the most listened to radio,
Yeah.
popular radio here in Morocco. People would call. They would have maybe a couple minutes to expose the problem,
Yeah.
and then he goes on a rant. So the problem with this is, how could you give a good analysis by listening to somebody 2, 3, 5, even 10 or 15 minutes? Like, of course, they try to make it short and attractive.
no,
like,
but if you're a professional, you can give out tools for people,
like general
things,
yes,
keep it light. But
That's the
sometimes
thing.
he would take
would be
his
super
AK-47 and
So-
shoot the shit out of.
Quick example.
Oh my God.
And I think that where I disagreed with you, I mean, I didn't listen to him so often, but I was almost gonna debate him actually, because I knew somebody who knew him, and when I told her like, "Oh, this guy's full of shit," she's like, "Ah, no, you kidding me? He's a doctor. He's
No,
this.
it
He's
turns
that."
out he's not even a fucking trick.
Exactly.
So,
All right, you spoiled my story, but let me.
my bad.
That's okay. So he was hired as being a sexolog and being I don't know how he made the jump, but he was like, okay, a shrink, and he was like talking to people. And I think there are some radio stations who do that much better.
Yeah.
And if you listen
Yeah,
to
for
French
sure.
radio, etc., Caroline Blanche, I think, in RTL or whatever. Anyway,
Stéphanie Noir as well.
Stéphanie Noir, Caroline Blanche, disco musique. Music. Okay, I'm not even sure what I pressed. Okay, so this guy, for example, he would have some very deep subject, like very deep societal problems. For example, oh, I am gay, and my roommate, and I like my roommate, and we have been studying in the same university, etc. So, very interesting how he would reflect on that and give opinions about a Morocco, a Muslim country. Somebody is saying, and like, of course, it's an anonymous call, and he's saying he's gay. It's a teenager who's going to school. He's in love with this. Should he say this? Should he say that? There was another story about a young girl who lives in a small village near a big city, which is Agadir, and very touristy, etc. And she said, well, I'm 17. I'm brilliant. I have my degree already, my high school degree, baccalaureate, and I had very good grades. And now I want to go pursue my studies in Rabat. Rabat is very far from Agadir. It's like 500 kilometers, which is roughly 300 miles or a little over. But anyways, and I'm poor. My family is very conservative and poor. We are very modest people. And my father would not let me go to Rabat because we don't know anybody. We don't have the money. And he's saying, you should go to the big city which is not far from us. And you can just go commute, and which is Agadir, which is not a bad city. It's a big city also, etc. You have some opportunities. Of course, it's not Rabat, it's not Casablanca, but Agadir is still great for school, I guess.
Yeah.
And what do you think I should do? I really want to go to Rabat. There is a great university. They accepted me. They would give me like a 50% scholarship, but I need to pay for the rest and then rent and this.
Yeah.
But we don't know anybody. We are poor and modest. So what do you think I should do? Here is the advice. He said, in a way, he said it in a polite way, but still very dry. Fuck your parents. When are you turning 18? Oh, in 4 months. You will wait, don't go to school. In 4 months, you pack up your shit and you go to Rabat. Because education is better. Your parents are too stupid to realize that education is more important. Yes, they are scared, etc. But I understand, but who cares? Education is more important. Are your parents educated? Well, not really. My father is a farmer, etc. See, I knew it. So you need to go. Education is very important. You're a woman. He wants you probably to do the laundry and wash and help around the house all day. Then no, you are brilliant. You should be. So, of course, education is important.
No, the advice is not the problem. Like, well, it is. But what I mean is, it's not what's in the advice, because it's often makes sense in a way.
Yes.
But you can't
go against reality
to go to that point direct. Like it's the same way if I don't know, like maybe that's not a good example. The first one you gave, but should we?
Well, yeah, go for it.
Nah.
No, go for it.
Should we?
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing where I'm not gonna go for it. I think it's a bit too trashy.
Just say it. In worst case scenario, we'll cut it.
No.
We're not gonna cut it.
I'm not gonna cut it. But
just say it.
Just to come back to
say it. No, now you have to say it. It's too late. Just say it, or we will cut it if it's not good. The homosexual guy.
Well, it's let's go with the homosexual guy.
No, but what were you gonna go with?
No, I'm going with that. So it's the exact same thing that the homosexual guy tells you, like, hey, doc.
I'm in the closet. What do you think I should do?
And by the way, they think he's a doctor. Huh?
Yeah, so
all along. So he has that kind, and being a doctor is a big deal in Morocco.
Big
by the
deal.
way.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I'm in love with my roommate, whatever, and I don't know if I should say, and he lives in Morocco, and the advice would be, you should go and
Exactly.
tell everyone that you're gay and proud to be gay and whatever, blah blah blah. Which, in essence, depending on where you come from or whatever, it's not the crazy. This is what they do everywhere, right? But do that in Morocco.
Consider the cultural background. And
Consider the cultural background and the risk in which you are telling people to put themselves in. Of course, it's like going into like the favelas in Brazil and taking out your iPhones without knowing.
tell them,
any-
"Hey, fuck you, I'm free."
there's
Yeah.
a fucking big chance you get
Jumped.
at least jumped,
Mm.
right? Normally, we should live all in a world where if you want to take your iPhone out, take it out.
You should have the freedom
You
to
should
do
have
whatever
the
you
free-
want. Yeah.
True, but sometimes you need to put a bit of common sense behind and be like, yeah, well, maybe wait until you get outside.
Yeah.
Or maybe, and that's what Doc Samad is missing. There's not that maybe,
No,
like
true.
maybe you should explain to your parents that this is what this is why Rabat school is better and maybe figure out a way where you can ease figure out where the pain points are and ease each point and maybe do a contract that if I do good for 2 years here, I can
True,
transfer.
but
or-
also you should
you-
never
you know?
ask a teenager who is like not even 18 to go against her parents and leave the house and with no money.
No,
like,
but that's
what
the
do you
thing.
think she would do economically? Who's gonna pay for this? You? No, like she's gonna have to do small jobs. We don't really have that in Morocco. Like she's
No,
gonna
no, but
be,
the-
like that's ridiculous. It's so risky.
it's the not only the bad advice, but it's the
Dangerous.
you should get to action.
Yeah,
stand up
yeah.
or whatever.
No,
and this
for
is
sure,
so
for
fucking
sure. I think
dangerous.
it's really
very,
fucked up.
very dangerous.
So a little context about him. We could really do a whole episode about him, but he ended up not being a real doctor. People, when they did their research, they found out that he never had his degree, and the radio obviously was ashamed and didn't do his job, so they dropped him. And because of the radio, it was a station. He became very popular. He started charging like something like $60 for an hour, which in Morocco is very expensive to have somebody just talk to you and give you crazy advice like that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the way he left Morocco. So apparently he said that he was mugged. So this guy was gay. Okay. Yeah, he was gay. His name is Samantha, actually. In that's his stage name. That's his gay name. Seriously, because I knew somebody who worked at this radio station, and she worked with him, and
Okay.
he was openly gay with his colleagues and everything.
Okay.
Anyways, so Doc Samad is Samantha. Anyways,
Okay.
and he had the visit of the government officials saying, you are having a little sign here at your office saying that you are a doctor. We did the research. You are not a doctor. You need to take it off. And he said, no,
that was in France or Belgium.
that
or
was
something.
here in Morocco, in Casablanca, or something like Mohammedia. Anyways, so he was not in Rabat. But anyways, so he
Okay.
he did a surgery where he had like Botox, etc. And when you do Botox, like your face looks like you've been jumped, right? And he said that actually he was jumped in his office and he had to escape to France. And I think he has a dual citizenship. So he escaped to France. Reporters finally did a good job again. And they went to the office and they asked the guys around, etc. And he said, no, I actually helped him. He moved all his stuff to the car. I helped him move all his luggage to the car. And he just left. No, he had a surgery days before. Nobody jumped anybody. Like if you go to the police, there was no report of him. And he made a video. Now he's a plastic surgeon in Italy.
What?
Yeah, he does plastic surgery. I mean, not plastic surgery. He's not a doctor yet.
Oh,
and
he
he has
does
never
the- he
been.
does
He
the
does the injection.
Botox,
You know those
stuff,
those stupid shit.
Well-
so that gives you a little context about how charlatans can really go between the cracks
Well,
and pretend
actually,
to be.
this is the exact. I think it's a good conclusion. Is that there are charlatans everywhere
Yeah,
in psychiatry.
it's easier.
I find it to be one. It's easier because there's no real metrics,
yeah,
and two, it has devastating consequences.
for sure, for
And
sure.
this is why I'm always like, when it comes to this thing, I'm always a bit skeptical because I think the ratio of people that don't maybe do the job the right way must be quite high,
Yeah.
and the consequences are
Devastating. So,
yeah.
in my opinion, try to find a balance in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Good friends, workout, music,
Yeah.
podcasts. That's why we encourage a lot of people to do podcasts with
yeah,
us, because it's a lot of fun.
And therapy helps. Don't get us wrong.
Therapy helps, but like if you get a good balance and find some breathing room, like find something that really release the pressure,
Yeah.
I think in real life. And then of course a therapist is always a good solution. Like
But
if
what
you're
would be
sick,
cool is to go see a therapist when everything's cool.
which you did, right? Well, kind of. No.
Well, yeah, I kind of did.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day
That's,
in paradise.
that's a story for another day in
So-
paradise. Thank you so much. It was a really cool topic.
Yeah.
We started off with something totally different, and then we went 180 degrees. Do a podcast. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to do a podcast, do a podcast. It's a lot of fun.
And like, subscribe, and comment,
Comment.
as usual.
Comment. All right.
All
Take
right,
it easy,
take it
guys.
easy, bye.
Take care.